Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be this fun tropical nail set. So I did this with some stamping plates. So we're starting off with a bunch of colorful tropical colors. I was sticking with pastels for the gels to do the background color, and then we're going to do the brighter stamping on top of it. So I went with a pink, orange, and yellow theme over here. And I'm starting by doing like a kind of like an ombre mix of colors, glitters on the nails here. So each nail is going to be a different color, and I'm just mixing it up on my palette here and using some of this blooming gel from Vettsy to help the gels just kind of mesh together nicely. So I'm using an ombre brush to pick up a mix of the glitter and polish and just kind of swirling it down onto the nail and allowing the blooming gel to really do a lot of the work here, and then adding in glitter where I see fit. These Apres cream polishes are insanely pigmented. They're really intense and they take over a design so quickly, and that's great, but I put too much of the pink on, and I definitely needed to add a lot more glitter than I was expecting, because these gel polishes, they really are so pigmented and so bold and really make a big statement, which is great, but just something you have to keep in mind if you don't want them to overtake the entire design and you just want it to be a little bit of background. So over here for the yellows, I actually did more glitter than I did gel, like the cream gel from Apres, and that worked better, as opposed to with the pink one I did more of the Apres and it definitely took over. But even still, the shimmery gel that I was using from KoKo Claire that has this gorgeous yellow shimmer to it, it wasn't as glittery as the pink that I had used from Vettsy on the previous nail. So I decided to add in some loose glitter just to add more of that effect, more of that piecey glittery look to it, to kind of match the first nail that we did that had more chunky glitters in it. And I'm going to do the same with the orange nail as well. I just didn't have a glittery polish that had the right colors that I was looking for when it came to the orange and the yellow. With the yellows, I had stuff that was just a little bit too golden and too deep in color, and with the oranges, they were all just like a much darker orange, and I wanted to keep it light and pastel. So I decided to just add in the loose glitters to the set so that I would have that effect, and that is what loose glitters are great for. You can really add them into any design, and they're very versatile. You can use them however you like. You can even mix them on the palette into the gel polish so that they're a little bit more flush and kind of embedded in the gel polish itself. It's not something I thought of in the moment while I was doing it, but it's definitely something you can do if you wanted to. And you can see I keep wiping off my brush between the layers when it comes to doing the marbling, because like I said, that Apres gel polish is just so intense and it really loads up on the brush a lot, and it was just taking over. So I keep wiping off my brush in between and just kind of floating the design as I feel it's necessary. It's kind of like, you know, oh, it looks like the spot has a little bit too much of the Apres, the cream color that doesn't have glitter, so I'll just add a bit more glitter. Oh, and this spot looks like it's missing a bit of this, and I just kind of like play around with it as needed. So you can see over here, I needed a little bit more of the cream gel polish, so I just added a bit more where I thought necessary. So it's all kind of just like a creative decision that you can make on the spot, and it's definitely just personal preference, up to you as the creator, how you want to have the design sit. And I definitely left some of the areas clear. You can see, you kind of see through the design a little bit, and that was purposeful. I wanted it to be a much softer design, and also because we're going to be doing stamping over it, I figured like a lot of those areas would get covered with the stamping anyway, so it wasn't super necessary to bulk up the nail with too much product. I wanted it to be nice and thin, especially because over here I'm actually going to be doing more glitter, and then we're going to encapsulate all of these nails before doing the gel polish. So I have this glitter over here. It's just a random glitter mix from somewhere, I'm not really sure, and it had some pretty pastel colors in it, and it also had green, and I definitely wanted to add some of the green and make sure at least each of the nails had a bit of the green glitter in there as well. The idea that I had in mind was kind of like, once all the stamping is on top of it, kind of like as if you were looking through a tropical forest and you had like the pretty leaves right in front of you, and then if you can kind of see through the leaves into like the background, and there's like more foliage and animals and bugs and creatures and flowers and stuff all in the background that's kind of like a little bit hazy, almost as if you maybe like took a photograph and the stuff that's in the front, which is going to be the stamping, is clear and bright, and then in the background there's kind of like this haziness with more foliage and tropical stuff coming through in the background, but it's kind of like out of focus. So that was the idea that I had with this. So I wanted to make sure I definitely had some green sparkle in the background to add to that effect. And then I'm going to encapsulate all of the nails because they were quite bumpy and all misshapen from all of the glitter. So I'm using this 5-in-1 top coat from Vettsy, and I'm just going to encapsulate all of the nails, creating a nice smooth surface. And then I'm going to file over everything. So I hold the nail upside down to make sure everything is covered, and now I'm going to file down the nails. So I start by filing down the sides with a more coarse file, and I'm just going to make sure that any glitter that's hanging over the sides is filed down, and then I'm using a buffer to buff over the top part. This was a very light encapsulation. Nothing was too large or too bulky on the nail because it was just small glitter. So I found that using a buffer was perfectly fine for this. If you had something a little bit more chunky, if the nail was more uneven than this, or if you felt like a buffer wasn't going to be strong enough, you can definitely use like a coarser file or even an E-file if you wanted to. But I felt like this was good enough. And I did that for all of them, and then I'm going to matte top coat all of these so we can do the stamping. And as you can see, the middle nail is actually different from the rest of them. It just has this really pretty gel polish from KoKo Claire that had some like matte glitter in the gel polish itself that had some of the colors with the rest of the design, and I figured that was like a nice accent but still tying in with the rest of the design. And I'm doing a matte top coat because I like stamping over a matte top coat, but you can definitely do a shiny one if you prefer. It's just the way I like stamping, so I can see what I'm doing. So this is a stamping plate I'm using. It's from Claire Jelly Stamper, as well as the stamping polishes, and of course everything that I'm using I'll have it listed in the description box down below in case you were curious or if you weren't exactly sure what I was using. And I'm going to just start by picking some images and stamping them down on the nails, nice and simple. So I picked out some colors that matched the design, pinks, yellows, and oranges. Those were the looks I was going for, as well as some green because I definitely wanted to add greenery to this set. And this plate, they had pretty large images on it, so I didn't do too many. It kind of felt like less was more with this kind of plate and with how large these images were. So there's really nothing too complicated about it. I'm just going about stamping, adding greenery and leaves, and just kind of placing it down where I want. I didn't really have an exact placement design or thought process for this part of the design. It was just kind of like what I felt like in the moment. So definitely take, creative liberties and do whatever speaks to you in the moment. And while I'm going to be stamping over here and just doing my thing, I do want to remind you once again that I will be doing a giveaway on the channel when I reach 1,000 subscribers, which is so crazy to say. I can't believe this close. I really started this off as a hobby, and it definitely still is. I love doing these nails. It's definitely kind of built up my creative muscles, I would say. I used to say that I'm not a super creative person, and even still I find that sometimes I need to really sit out and plan my designs very carefully before actually doing it. But when it came to a set like this, I was actually just able to kind of like wing it. I knew what colors I wanted, and I knew the stamping plate I was going to use, of course, but everything was just kind of like whatever I felt like in the moment, and that has definitely been due to and thanks to being able to just create here on YouTube and turning this into a great hobby. And it's been super fun, and I love all of you who have joined this little journey with me. I hope that hopefully your creativity has also been boosted watching this. So if you are interested in potentially being able to win the giveaway that I'll be doing when I reach 1,000 subscribers, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that we can reach that goal. And when we get to that point, then we'll talk about it then. So getting back to the nails over here, as you can see, I started stamping down with this green polish over here, but I realized it was a bit sheer and I didn't really love how it looked. It was kind of too sheer for what I was going for. So I decided to wipe that off and go in with a different color. And I was actually struggling over here, and I decided to leave this in the video so I can talk about it. You can see with these deep weld images, when there aren't a lot of details, it's just like a big open space. Sometimes it can be much harder to pick up the design and have the polish, the stamping polish, really fill in the whole design. And as you saw, I was struggling quite a lot. And I finally realized what my problem was. I was being way too aggressive. I was swiping the card really hard, trying to get a really sharp angle, and it was just scraping all the polish right off. And finally, at the end, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this one more shot before I give up on this design and try to do a different, more detailed, intricate pattern over here. And then I decided to scrape lightly with the card, and I picked up the image just fine. So I wanted to leave that in there so that I can talk about it, and to remind you that when it comes to stamping, you don't have to be aggressive with it, actually. I kept thinking that like the harder I scraped, the better it would fill in the design, and I was actually wrong. The gentler you are, the easier it works. So be nice to it, be kind to it, and be kind to yourself if you're struggling, because I definitely still have struggles despite doing stamping for quite some time now. And it's all a learning process. Every time you do it, it's a different thing, and every time you get better at it. And that was a lesson that I learned while doing this set here. Be nice. You don't have to be aggressive with it. It works when you work nice and when you play nice with it. So that's a little tip for you in case you were struggling with some of those more larger images that are harder to pick up. And now I'm going to finish off this design over here. And again, I was just kind of placing down things as I saw fit and necessary, and I thought it was a lot of fun to just mix a lot of these colors together. So doing like an orange and green flower and pink and green leaves, and I just really wanted it to feel very bright and summery and a lot of fun. So just filling off the rest of this design here. I thought pink and yellow would be super fun. I love tropical scenery, greenery, florals, all that stuff, because it's almost like different from what you see on a regular basis. Like, for example, you see pink leaves, or, you know, just other things that are not so commonplace, I guess, when you don't live in a tropical climate. And there's just something so beautiful about it. I love having interesting things. I love bright, colorful florals, and something like that was just a lot of fun to add to this design. So over here, I actually rolled the stamper onto the nail. I'm not sure if you picked up on that, and you'll see it again over here. This green polish was actually quite dry, these two green ones that I was using right here for this leaf. And it was kind of like sticking to the stamper and didn't really want to go onto the nail very easily. So as you saw, I kind of rolled the stamper, and that way it kind of placed down the stamping image really nicely, as opposed to just pressing it down and lifting up. It would have just stuck right back onto the stamper. So sometimes you have to kind of adjust your technique a little bit and roll the nail, or just be a little bit gentle with how you place things down. It's all a learning process, and again, be nice to it and be nice to yourself, and all will be well. Every time is a learning process, and a great way to just learn more techniques and a better way to do things in the future. And then I decided to do just a crystal placement over here. The idea was kind of like hidden treasure in a jungle, almost like Jumanji, or just those, what was that old phone game, that old mobile game? What was it? Temple Run or something like that? Let me know if you played that years ago. That was such a popular game where like there's like a hidden treasure in the jungle or something like that. So I figured to kind of play off of that idea in the bright, tropical, sunny forest, whatever, to add in some of these gems over here to kind of play off of that idea of like hidden treasure in the jungle, and also to just add a bit of an accent nail on this design to kind of bring all the sparkle together and finish off the design with some fun crystal placement. And once you add the caviar beads, it definitely adds some drama to the nail. So I'm going to finish off with a shiny top coat. Initially, I was thinking I was going to do it matte, but the shimmer and the glitter in the background just kind of looked a little bit too dull for what I was going for. I know I was saying in the beginning that I kind of wanted it to look almost like out of focus in the background, but I felt like it was just missing the sparkle, and I really wanted the sparkle to come back, so I decided to go in with a shiny top coat. But I think a matte top coat would have been really, really cool as well. I just wanted some of that drama back, so this is what I chose to do. But let me know which one you prefer. Do you like it matte, or would you have gone with a shiny one like I did? And here is the final set. I love how it came out. I think it's so summery, it's so fun, it's so bright and different from what I've been doing recently. I really like how fun it is. Let me know what you think of this set down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you would like a chance to win at the giveaway we'll be doing soon, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!